Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to Planet FM 87.6 and I'm your host, your RJ Rabbiya. Today we are going to discuss quite an important topic which is related to environment, and today world is celebrating World's Environment Day, and to discuss that topic we have a very special guest. But before that, I will share with you the message of Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, on World's Environment Day. That is, he says that we have to do collective efforts to safeguard and preserve the environment. In his post on his X handle in connection with World Environment Day, he said we can make a significant impact on the health and sustainability of our environment by taking proactive steps towards endeavors to nature and cultivate forests, revive and replenish dwindling water resources, and rehabilitate and revitalize exhausted soils. He also emphasized the importance of embracing this responsibility and working towards a better and sustainable future for our planet. So, when we talk about environment, there are things that came in our mind, that when environment changes, when different factors that includes disturbance of environment, for example air pollution, and that causes the biggest effect climate change or global warming. In 21st century, when we talk about these terminologies that related to our weather environment, these terminologies and climate patterns affects human species a lot. These are the biggest issues currently, one of the biggest issues currently humans are facing on the earth, and it affected not only humans but other species as well. And the role of environment in global warming is multifaceted and complex. And to discuss that issue, we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Shahid Mehmood Baig. Dr. Shahid Mehmood Baig is a PhD in human genomics and identification of diseases. Recently, he has been conferred a prestigious award of Pakistan, Hilal Imtiaz, and he is also awarded with Sitara Imtiaz by Government of Pakistan, and on his excellent services in genetics and disease cure. Sir, I welcome you. We are quite honored to have you on our show on Planet FM 87.6. How are you?
Thank you very much, Rabbiya. It's my
Thank you.
pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation and
Yeah.
giving me the opportunity to talk about environment and its impact on human health,
Exactly.
especially on this day.
Exactly. Sir, when we talk about environment and and human health, what are the main causes or primary human activities that cause environment, affected, that affects particularly on human health?
Uh, uh, Thank you for the question. This is a very important question. How human activities
Yeah.
affect the environment, and how the environment affect the human health.
Exactly.
So we are using the fossil fuel on daily basis, and fossil fuel, various gases are emitted from using the fossil fuels. Uh, we are producing methane, carbon dioxide, uh, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, etc. And these gases, they increase the uh, environmental temperature, and by this temperature we are heading towards global warming, climate
Exactly.
change, climate warming.
Yes.
And this climate warming, it brings about, it has many effects on the environment and on the human health as well. On one side, there are many environmental changes, like we have floods, we have global warming, and due to this warming, there are several diseases which are caused. The tropical diseases, the mosquitoes, they get very ambient temperature environment for their breeding. In the tropical regions, especially where the temperature is high, and there is water or damp places, or there is moisture, the mosquitoes get the favorable environment for their breeding.
Yeah.
There are a lot of mosquitoes, and as a result, there is malaria, there is dengue, and there are many waterborne diseases which are impact of this climate change and the contribution or the gases and the metals we are sending into our environment.
Exactly. So today, luckily, weather is quite pleasant. But before today, there is a a massive heat wave in particularly the even the cities of Pakistan, in Punjab and Rawalpindi, Islamabad, Lahore. Weather was quite hot. You talk about fossil fuels. The fossil fuels create greenhouse gas emissions,
Yeah.
and it traps the heat of the sun, and then it increases global warming. So do share some thoughts that how to mitigate when the heat waves caused by fossil fuels or greenhouse gas emissions. What a common person can do in his or her capacity to beat that heat.
Yes, very right. Actually, each one of us has to play their own role in mitigating the impact of this climate change.
Yeah.
Um, the government and the authorities, although they are doing a lot of things, they take a lot of measures, they make the policies, but each one of us has to work as a volunteer to mitigate the impact of environmental changes. Uh, we have to popularize the cycling in Pakistan to reduce the use of fossil fuel. We have to popularize the use of public transport, and the public transport has to be maybe on biogas system or on electric buses or electric cars. So when we start using the electric cars, electric buses, or bicycles, etc., the emission of these greenhouse gases will be minimized, and this is the right way to mitigate. Many of the countries they are practicing this. If you go to Northern Europe, you see their higher officials they are using the bicycle. If you go to China, they are using the electric buses, electric cars. These are very popular, and by these we have wonderful examples that some of the countries they have reduced the climate impact, their air pollution by changing their vehicles into electric cars and using the bicycles and planting the trees. Each one of us has to plant a tree. If you can't do anything, you cannot introduce a solar car or the electric car, or if you can't use a bicycle, at least you can plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Okay. So this is how we can do as an individual, as a volunteer, and there are some policies which the authorities, the government bodies, they are responsible. They are doing something, but we are a very big country, very big population. We have some major cities, some remote areas. So you see, we have limited resources. So the government cannot do everything. We as a volunteer, we have to contribute, we have to play, we have to be responsible citizen, and we have to realize these factors that how as a individual, as a common citizen, we can contribute in mitigating the effects of climate change.
Right. Sir, as we are talking about climate change and global warming, for a layman, in a layman language, or for our audience who is watching us, who is listening us, please explain how global warming is differs from climate change, because people often these terminologies mix them.
Global warming is increase in the temperature.
Exactly.
Right? And in every 10 years, we are having a 0.11 Fahrenheit increase in the global temperature. So it is because of the industrialization, because of using the fossil fuels, etc., and using so many cars, vehicles, industrialization, etc. So the temperature is changing, it is increasing. So over the last 150 years, 2 degree Fahrenheit has been increased. It means there is a global warming
And that affect climate.
that affects the climate. So by this global warming, we have unprecedented rains, unprecedented storms, unprecedented floods, and unprecedented earthquakes, etc.
Right, right.
So you see, by these change of the lifestyle, uh, we are heading towards the global warming, and the temperature is increasing. And now we are seriously thinking. In 1973, the UN decided that we should have a World Environment Day.
World
So they
Environment,
took a
right.
very good step, and now Pakistan is also observing. So create awareness. So that's why I'm here to talk to my colleagues and students and my friends and common people, that how important this day is, to create awareness, to realize that what is the environment and how we can protect. We should start taking the measures right from today, if we have not already starting to take measures to mitigate the impact of environmental changes. So this is the very important day to share with our friends, to create the awareness, the education about the environment. Because if we don't do it now, we are already losing 4 years of life due to the impact of the environment.
Yeah.
There is air pollution, there is water pollution. Everybody is exposed to the environmental pollution. And if I share with you, Pakistan at one time was declared one of the most pollutant country, and oh, you see, Lahore has been one of the most pollutant
Cities.
cities many times.
But
So
sir,
it is.
there is, sorry to interrupt, there is another thing. Pakistan is one of the country that least produce greenhouse emissions, but it is the most affected countries when it comes to climate change.
That's why we call it global warming. The heat is being generated by the industrialized country. We are not that much
Much.
industrialized country.
Exactly.
We are producing, our contribution in global warming is minimum.
Exactly.
Okay, but the impact
Some
can come
1% of.
anywhere. You see, 2 years ago there were floods in Sindh and in Balochistan. These are unprecedented.
Exactly.
We never had floods in Balochistan or that type of floods in Sindh.
Same.
But it is the impact of global warming, or the emission of the gases, which were created by Europe, maybe from China, maybe from other industrialized country. Any country can be the target. This time it was Pakistan, but next time it may be again Pakistan, or it may be some other country
Right.
who have minimum or no role in global warming.
Global warming.
So it is a global issue, not a issue if we are the victim of global warming this year. It doesn't mean we will be again victim of this. Anybody can be, maybe any country in the Europe, any
Yeah.
small country in the Europe.
And nowadays we are seeing this. There are floods coming in different parts of the world. Recently, in Japan maybe, or in I think Thailand. I remember, or maybe I'm right or wrong, but there are some countries where flood came. In United States of America, in New York, recently
You see?
we've heard massive floods in Dubai.
So these are the impact of global warming and
Yeah.
climate change. So it's a global issue.
Global issue.
It is
Right,
not
right.
whether you are emitting the gases, you are increasing the global temperature or not, but you are at risk population.
Yeah.
Everybody is at risk, but especially our population in Pakistan, it is most vulnerable population. As I said earlier, Pakistan was one of the most pollutant country.
Yeah.
Lahore and maybe Peshawar and Islamabad, they are the most pollutant.
Affected.
And the impact of these environmental pollutants, it is very high on the human health.
Exactly.
There are various diseases which are caused by these environmental factors, by global warming. I will share with you the name of the diseases. There are some many of the communicable diseases,
Hmm.
these are only because of these
Yeah.
environmental
So
factors.
we will definitely discuss that. You all are listening Planet FM 87.6, and don't forget to log in to our Facebook page Planet FM 87.6 Radio FM Pakistan. You can log in and you can watch our live transmission. Today, as world and Pakistan is observing World's Environment Day, and we are discussing the effects of global warming and climate change, and how Pakistan can play its role to mitigate its effects. And to discuss that, we have a very great and special guest with us, Dr. Shahid Mehmood Baig. So, sir, we are discussing environment. What are the uh, basic primary, you can say, that causes of air pollution that lead to global warming?
The basic causes are, as I said, it is industrialization,
Hmm.
use of fossil fuels,
Yeah.
and so these are the two main factors which are responsible
Hmm.
in causing the global warming.
Right. And sir, what are the health effects that caused by particularly air
Yeah.
pollution?
By the air
Diseases.
pollution, there are several diseases which are caused by the air pollution.
Hmm.
Uh, Respiratory diseases,
Yeah.
lung diseases, cardiovascular diseases,
Hmm.
and in some cases it also affects the cognitive abilities of the children.
Oh.
So their intellectual ability is also compromised by these pollutants in the air.
How
There are,
come? This is a new concept I'm knowing.
yeah, actually there are so many diseases uh, which are already there, but
Yeah.
because of the environmental factors, there are some pollutants which trigger these diseases, which add up on these diseases,
All
on the
right.
causation of these diseases. If the if your air is clean, uh, there are minimum number of pollutants, then these factors which are already there, these are not triggered. But when these diseases are in, as a geneticist, we call them the genetic variants,
Hmm.
when they get the favorable environment by these pollutants,
Yeah.
they get activated. These are triggered.
Okay. Okay.
And it is already proven that these pollutants, they also affect on the cognitive ability, especially on the of the young children, because
Hmm.
these are vulnerable. They play outside, they spend most of the time,
Exactly.
and they get more exposure to these pollutants, and they are more likely to be affected by these pollutants.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Right.
on top of these diseases which I have mentioned, these cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, diseases, and another disease of lungs is the COPD.
COPD.
It is also caused by the environmental pollutants.
Right, right. Sir, as we are discussing about health effect by air pollution, what are the social economic implications? Because definitely, when human health is compromised, it affects on socio-economic condition of the society or the country. So, what are the socio-economic implications of air pollution and caused by human health?
You see, 2.3 or around 3% of global GDP
Hmm.
is lost only due to environmental factors on human health.
My God.
When a person is sick, you
Hmm.
see there is a cost on his treatment, management, etc. And on top of that, he or she also loses the working hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And another effect of environment, when there is smoke in, especially in Punjab, central Punjab, in
Yeah.
Pakistan, you see there is no traffic. There are many businesses which are closed
Hmm.
during those hours. So there is a huge economic impact of these environmental factors
Yeah.
on our lives and our economy and national economy,
Right,
etc.
right, right. Sir, and When we talk about climate change and global warming, there is another thing: urbanization, industrialization. So, how much it plays a role in exacerbating climate change?
The urbanization, industrialization, it is very is playing a very big role in global warming and climate change.
Hmm.
Uh, this is the main issue in Pakistan as well. Many people are moving from the rural areas to the urban
Urban
area
areas
for the business, for the jobs,
for better living
for
style.
better living style. But you see, at the same time, uh, many they are involved in activities. They have to involve in the activities which are creating more and more pollution.
Right.
There is more transportation,
More
infrastructure, concrete
less
infrastructure,
greenery.
less greenery, housing, and more kitchens, more cooking, more
Yeah.
vehicles. You see, these are the main factors which are contributing in increasing the
Hmm.
environmental temperature and causing the environmental pollution.
So I was seeing some picture on the internet some few days ago, and there was a picture taken by drone in Karachi, and everyone was shocked to see that. And people started questioning how people live there, because in that particular picture you only see buildings, 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 but not a single point of greenery in that picture, and that was taken from height, and in sunny day. And you can imagine, but anyone who was seeing that picture was in the shock that how people are living there. And again, that is the same thing: urbanization, massive infrastructure, and
You see, this is very unhealthy living style.
exactly.
If you don't have the trees,
Trees,
the
plants,
tree, they absorb your carbon
carbon
dioxide,
dioxide.
carbon monoxide, and they give you fresh oxygen. They give you
Exactly.
shelter. If if a tree is planted close to your house, it minimizes the use of air conditioning as well.
Exactly.
But if you have no greenery and so much concrete structure and buildings, etc., so these are the factors which are creating the pollution. And this is bad planning or bad house planning or construction planning, etc. Town planning, I would call town planning.
Right, right, right. Okay. Sir, let's talk about the most vulnerable population of Pakistan. The population that are living below, poverty line or average poverty line, or that are most affected. What they can do, or what we, the middle class people or the people who are somehow affluent, what we can do as a community for them to decrease the effects of you can say that heat waves or the global warming. And nowadays, as we are seeing, Pakistan is in very difficult situation.
In Pakistan, everybody is vulnerable to the
Right.
climatic changes. But
Exactly.
we have to play our part how to mitigate these factors
Yeah.
and these pollutants. We should go for recycling,
Okay.
okay, and avoid using plastics.
Plastic.
These should be biodegradable things. If these are disposable, these should be biodegradable. And as I said, we should try to popularize the use of bicycles, the
Bicycles.
cycling.
Okay.
Although in the during the very hot days or very cold days,
It's difficult.
it's difficult. But I have seen people cycling on the snow in the Europe. It's
Right.
many countries are flat. Everybody is using the bicycles, and they have reduced the emission of these greenhouse gases to the minimum level.
So they have
So
created the environment so that.
we can create. We have to start from ourselves. Okay, we have to work as a volunteer.
Yeah.
If you find anything plastic, you can educate your friends, your colleagues
Hmm.
very politely that. But before them, you have to set your own example.
Yeah.
If you are
Exactly.
using mineral water or bottled water and throwing the water. This is not biodegradable. It is plastic.
Plastic.
But it can be recycled, but still you're creating too much waste. You are adding to the waste. And plus, we should try to minimize the use of these fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels.
If we can afford, we should move to the electrical vehicles.
Right.
There are some role which government has to play, authorities has to play, but especially in our system, each one of us has to be a volunteer to work for the environment.
And nowadays, people are going towards the renewable energy resources. For example, nowadays it is very common, particularly in Rawalpindi in Islamabad. I've seen many houses that have now solar energy system, which is also
Exactly.
Another good step. Slowly and gradually, people are taking and realizing, to go towards the solar systems and
Yes, this way you are not polluting the environment.
environment. Exactly.
But you see, only the middle class can afford. The lower middle class or the poor people, the majority, they cannot afford.
Cannot.
But they can do several things. They can adopt the hygienic way of life, but they need the education.
Yeah.
So again, there is a role of volunteers. They can go. They can do some community work. They can go to a park, start cleaning, start picking the waste and collect and clean the park.
Yeah.
So this type of community work, it inspires, it motivates the other people as well. So we can, since we are a very big population, we are a very big country.
Right.
Our resources, our system is not sufficient to do each and everything.
Yeah.
So we have to start by ourselves and by doing these community services and educating the people who are less educated.
Yeah, exactly.
To
it's an
realize
individual
them.
effort.
Individual efforts, yes.
Everyone has to play its role somehow.
To contribute in one way or other. You have to spare your time maybe on the weekend or after your working hours. You can spare a few minutes or half an hour to do some community work, to educate the people. You see, when you go to the general people, and if you see any educated or anyone one place doing a petty job, maybe picking up the trash on the footpath and putting in a bag, so people get motivated. If he can do it, why
not? Sir, as we are discussing the role of community or individual effort, what role government should play in regulating or addressing the challenges caused by environment or global warming, or especially mitigate the effects of heat waves in Pakistan?
Yep, government is trying to do its best to educate the people.
Yeah.
There are authorities. There is Environmental Protection Authority. There is Environment Protection Division. There is a ministry, and they are there. They are trying to do their job. But as I said, we are a very big population, and our system cannot support each and every street and every road and every house.
Exactly.
There are awareness program on the television, on the newspaper, etc. That you don't burn your crops, and you try to. They also issue the alerts during the especially smog days in the winter.
Exactly.
That they stop the brick making factories because they produce a lot of smoke, and ultimately when it combines with the water vapors and particles, etc., then it makes the smoke more fierce. They ask them to stop them by law. Similarly, there are holidays in the school, which is not good to give holidays, but to protect the children from the pollution and to protect the accidents, etc. You see, there are so many accidents during the smog.
Exactly.
And during the heat waves, there are many alerts from the government that you don't go outside when during the heat hours of the day. If you go there, you have to drink a lot of water to avoid the stroke.
Exactly.
There are many deaths
Use
because of this.
umbrellas.
Use umbrella, or use a cap or hat, or if you don't have anything, just put a piece of cloth on your head and keep drinking water. Keep a water bottle with you, whether it's a mineral water or just ordinary water. Take with you and keep on drinking. And the first thing is to avoid going outside during the heat hours of the day. So this is what government is issuing alerts and instruction to the common people.
All right. You guys are listening to Planet FM 87.6, and you can also join us our live transmission on Planet FM Radio Pakistan Facebook page. And today we are observing, world is observing World's Environment Day, and Pakistan is also observing, and celebrating this day, and creating awareness. And today we are discussing the same topic with a very renowned guest, Dr. Shahid Mehmood Baig, who is human genomics. Sir, in discussion you talk about some communicable diseases. What are the main communicable and non-communicable diseases caused by the environment? Please elaborate it.
Yes, thank you for asking this question. Very important question, which every one of us should know, that what are the communicable diseases and what is the role of environment in these diseases.
Yeah.
Number one is the cholera.
All right, cholera.
All right, typhoid. Then hepatitis B and hepatitis C.
All right.
Even the COVID. These are the communicable diseases.
Okay.
And plus the dengue also. It is also communicable.
Okay.
And environment has a very big role. Most of these are waterborne. These are communicated through water.
Water.
And once these are communicated to human, then these diseases can be communicated from one human to the other human. So these are initially transmitted through polluted water.
Okay.
When we don't get clean drinking water, you see there are several incidences in Pakistan where the sewage water is mixed with the drinking water. Some people, they drink water from the canals or from the spring or from rivers, etc. They just filter it and they drink it. So many of the pathogens, the disease-causing pathogens, they can be bacteria, they can be viruses, they can be parasites, they can be fungi. These are in the water. These can also, some of these can also be in the air. So these pollutants are of two types: waterborne pollutants and airborne pollutants.
Okay.
So mostly the non-communicable diseases are caused by the waterborne pollutants. So these include, as I can again share with you, that the cholera, the typhoid, hepatitis B and C, and COVID as well. There were some water sample, and polio. Recently there was a study in 30 districts of Pakistan, and they took samples from many sites, and from 80 sites polio virus was positive. It means the water the people are drinking in those areas from those sources, it also has the virus of polio. So these are so many diseases. These are communicable diseases.
Okay.
And plus there are non-communicable diseases which include diabetes, respiratory diseases, lung diseases, and cancer as well, and intellectual disability, the neurological disorders. So these factors, these are mostly borne by the air.
Okay.
Heavy metals, when the greenhouse gases are emitted, there are some heavy particles as well, heavy metals as well. So when these people living in these areas, they are exposed to these pollutants.
Okay.
The already uh, our population is already vulnerable. Every population is vulnerable to various diseases. But when they got exposure to these pollutants, these the genes or the factor for these diseases are triggered, activated. So that's why the diabetes, the cardiovascular diseases, and the lung diseases are more prevalent in those areas where the pollution level is very high. You
Okay.
see, in Pakistan, the, the level of the incidence of diabetes is highest. Every third person is having the diabetes. There are factors which are genetic, which have nothing to do with the environment, but around 30% factors are contributed by the environment.
And sir, nowadays, even youngsters are pre-diabetics.
Yes, this is family history and genetics is also contributing in these diseases, but these we call them complex disorders. Complex
Okay.
in complex disorders, which include the diabetes, the heart diseases, the cancers, and allergies. These are multifactorial diseases. In these diseases, if there is a family history, that population is already vulnerable. If the pollution level is high, then these people are more likely to develop these. They can develop cancer, they can develop cardiovascular diseases, or they can have respiratory diseases, or they can have the diabetes or any other metabolic disease.
So
So
nowadays even heat waves cause UV rays cause cancer, skin cancer.
yes, UV rays definitely cause skin cancer. If you are spending more time in the sun, then but luckily since we are colored people, we are brown people.
All right.
The incidence of skin cancer is very less in our population.
Okay.
It is mostly in the white population, Caucasian populations,
Caucasian
where
descent.
they have less pigment in their skin,
All right.
but still they have a good time in the sun just to get the sun bath, to get the vitamin A and vitamin D.
So you increased my information that this pigment in our, in our, South Asian descents or
Yeah.
South Asian people, is it helpful in,
Yeah, it's a protection against the skin cancer.
really?
Yes, in the white population, the incidence of skin cancer is much higher than our population. So,
And nowadays, sir, people, South Asian, particularly Pakistani people, because I'm a, quite into my, fellow beings, and I use social media frequently. So nowadays, people are, quite concerned that we have to, decrease the production of melanin in our body, and reduce this
yeah,
pigment. And there are many treatments going on. Does those treatments affects human health in later stages as well,
exactly. These are,
like IV injections and
you see,
glutathione injections and all?
actually playing with the nature or playing with the biological systems,
System of
it has some advantages, but there are several disadvantages. So using these unauthorized, which are not approved cosmetics, uh, there are always some side effects and some bad effects rather. You see, these effects are temporary.
Exactly.
For a time being, you will look fair and white, or maybe beautiful, or something like that. But it has, you have to pay some cost for it.
Right.
There are certainly some side effects which are not good for which are not good in the long term.
So I was listening to the doctor, and she was saying that because this trend is, quite common in, you can say that today's generation having IV injections for, become fairer and fairer and fairer. So she was saying if you are going, for IV injections for your increased immunity, for your health, for your bone health, then it is fine. But when you go for the IV injections or IV drips after every 2 months, 3 months, 6 months for getting fair, it will definitely in longer term can lead to the cancerous, uh,
Yes, anything can
diseases.
happen. There are because these are not approved drugs.
Exactly.
Most of these are not approved drugs.
Hmm.
If you are using in Pakistan, these drugs should be approved by the the Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan.
Hmm.
If it is not approved, you don't know whether you are getting a temporary benefit,
Hmm.
but
Or long term disease.
long-term disease.
Yeah.
I have seen many young ladies using some fairness cream, but they have very bad patches on their skin, and
Yeah.
there are many side
Pigment
reactions.
increase there later on.
Yes, if these are not approved, then the risk is very high to
Yeah.
develop anything.
Sir, we were a bit diverted, but that is another important discussion. Sir, what does access to green spaces and outdoor environments influence? You talked about cognitive health, mental health.
Yeah.
So, what are the, outdoor environments that can create, a space for people to have a good mental health, especially when it comes to global warming and these things affect everyone.
One thing is the good, healthy environment.
Huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
a conducive, friendly environment, social life. When you go outside, you should like what you see around. If there are parks, there is greenery, there are flowers, there is open place. Uh, you look, smile on the faces of the people.
Yeah.
So these are healthy indicators. You see, if you go to some, especially in the northern Europe, you see people are smiling. And if you're coming out of your house, if you have some problem at your house, but when you go out and you see people are smiling,
Hmm.
you forget your worries and you
Worries.
start
Exactly.
smiling. And when you see around, if there is a good scene, there are parks, there are trees, there are flowers, and the roads are clean, neat and clean. It is quiet, there is no noise pollution,
Yeah.
the birds are singing, or something like that. So these are the environmental factors which has good impact.
Hmm.
You don't need to spend anything.
Hmm.
You don't. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
But it has very good effects on your mental health and your physical health as well.
Hmm.
So these are the factors which are important for a good mental health. And you
Hmm.
see in Pakistan there are several factors which are not healthy for our neurological health or for our mental health. Number one is very high temperature in the
Yes.
summer. Secondly, the economic factor,
Indeed.
joblessness or less income or
And high
expenditure,
inflation.
high inflation, etc. So these are the things which are affecting our mental health.
Hmm.
And that's why the incidence of neurological disorders is again very high in our population.
True. True.
So unless we create a happy, conducive environment, you see the countries where people are prosperous, okay, there is no security issues, and the environment is clean. They have the best transportation system, best parks, hospital, health care system. They are happy, they
Hmm.
live longer, and their faces are smiling,
Yeah.
and intellectually they are contributing a lot.
Hmm.
Although many of them, they work for very few hours. Maybe if I'm here in Pakistan, uh, for example, I work for 18 hours or 16 hours,
Hmm.
but for the 4 or 5 hours, I have some other issues. I'm not focused. Electricity is gone, or there is some security issue. The work I do, it is not of high quality.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
If I work 16 hours and if I don't do any creative or productive uh, thing in those hours, it is useless
Hmm.
exercise. It is just a labor. Whereas the people who are living in a prosperous, happy country, they work for few hours, but they
Mm.
do very high quality work. That's why most of the innovations, most of the creative work, and most of the discoveries, they are done by those people who are
Exactly.
living in
In the
those countries. We
exactly.
have many things others to worry. We have to worry about the electricity bill, about the gas bill,
True.
about
Very.
the school, children's school fee, about the house rent. Uh, but those countries where people are prosperous, they have so many things to
Mm.
think about,
Exactly.
creative things,
And
new
nowadays,
things.
this environment, the heat and the temperature increased our worries as well. Whenever we have to go out from our home, first we have to think, all right, it's too hot outside. What
Yeah.
will I do today? Let's skip the program, or let's skip the plan. So there are many worries we are facing.
Yeah.
Sir, let's talk about the agriculture in which pesticides are using, fertilizers, and that also affect, and they also play a role in global warming, or and increase the diseases, and the food we consume, it also affects our human health. Let's elaborate that, please.
You see, the farmers are in any agricultural industry, they try to have more yield
Mm.
in a shorter time.
Shorter time.
So that's why they are using the fertilizers, the pesticides to kill the insects, and
Mm.
herbicides to get rid of the herbs, etc. So they want to make money.
Right.
They, they want their crop to be profitable. So that's why they are using fertilizer, pesticides, and herbicides,
Mm.
etc. In some cases, it is essential.
Mm.
Without that, they cannot compete in the market.
Right, right.
Okay. On the other side, there is organic food,
Mm.
organic agriculture. It will take more time.
Mm.
Okay. It will give you less produce yield at the end of the year. So these products are very expensive, obviously, because it takes more time, and at the end the yield is very small. So we cannot avoid the use of fertilizers and pesticides, etc. Uh, as I said, we have to work as volunteer to avoid the use of fertilizer or to have the organic food. We
Mm.
have to promote the kitchen gardening. We
Yeah.
can have our own vegetables. If you have a small space in your home, if you don't have a space at your home, make it at your
At
roof.
the roof.
At the roof. There are
Wow.
many good roof gardens, roof uh, little farms people have created. They have their own salad, their own vegetables. Some
Exactly.
people have their own lemons and some fruits, etc. So we can promote that as well to mitigate the impact of these fertilizers.
Hmm.
People who don't have the choice, they have to use it.
Huh. Sir, deforestation is one of the factor that also cause global warming.
Yeah.
And sir, because you are from the field of genetics and the diseases cure, can you please tell any disease or any problem or health issue which caused by deforestation?
There are many. You see, when there is deforestation, it is the cause of so many diseases.
Hmm.
Your oxygen is less in the environment,
Yeah.
and
And carbon
you
dioxide
see,
increasing.
oxygen is most essential thing
Essential.
for the uh, human life,
Yes.
but not human life, all type of life. So you get the respiratory diseases, asthmas,
Hmm.
COPD, cardiovascular diseases,
All
and
right.
so many other diseases. And on top of that, the intellectual abilities are also compromised if the oxygen
Hmm.
level is less in the environment and the other gases are more,
Hmm.
carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, then the intellectual It also affects the intellectual ability of the individuals living in that area.
Right. Sir, any concluding remarks you want to give to the audience who is watching us or who is listening us right now? Any concluding remarks regarding
Um,
Environment Day?
yes, I will share my thoughts with all my listeners and everybody who will be watching afterwards.
Yes,
That we have to protect our environment. This is a global phenomenon,
exactly.
and we are global citizens. If we are exposed to some pollutants, uh, its effects will come after some years. So it is not individual effect. The effect will come on the whole society, the whole country, and it will be the global impact. We have to realize, and today the World Environmental Day is being celebrated
Hmm.
to realize, to give a wake up call to us that this is our environment, this is our planet, and we have to save it for
Exactly.
ourselves and for our
For the future
future
generation.
generation as well.
Right.
With the present level of pollution in Pakistan, we are losing 4 years of our life. The people living in Northern Europe, in Japan, and in Canada, their average life is 85 years. Our average life is 65 years. You see, there is a difference of 20
Difference.
years. And in 65 years, we are again using 4 years of our life because of this pollution.
Right,
So
right.
we have to be very active and work as a volunteer, start from ourselves, from our home, from our friends, from our family, to mitigate to educate our children, to educate our friends, to save our environment and save our planet.
Right. You guys were listening Planet FM 87.6, and we were, sharing our thoughts and discuss quite a pertinent topic on World's Environment Day. I hope you enjoyed our show, and don't forget to watch it. Even if you missed it, don't forget to watch it on Planet FM Radio Pakistan Facebook page, where our recording is available uh, whenever or wherever you want to access it. Thank you so much, sir, for your time
Thank you
and
very
for
much.
your
It was
insightful.
pleasure being here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure for your insights, full discussion and analysis on World's Environment Day, and you also increased my knowledge when it comes to different diseases. So thank you so much, everyone. We will join you in some other show and some other interesting topic. Till then, take care. Take very good care of yourself. Please keep hydrated and drink a lot of water. Use umbrella whenever you go out. As World's Environment Day, I would advise every one of you that do plant trees, use less plastic, and create awareness for the community and for the people around you. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Fi Aman Allah.
Challenge. Thank you